Hello guys and gals, and welcome to another episode of Skills and Abilities. Today I join you on my Valkazon. Her name is GGM Sapphire, and GGM Sapphire is a character who has built entirely into the passive and magic skill tree. She has absolutely no points in anything other than passive and magic skills. And you might be asking yourself, well, why would you do such a thing? Well, the answer is because I wanted to build the ultimate Valkyrie monstrosity. Yes, I'm not even joking. My Valkyrie is literally one of the strongest Valkyries that has ever existed. And to obtain this, I was able to create a character that literally has the highest level Valkyrie that you can possibly cast. I think I might be missing one or two items to get it just a teensy bit higher, but for the most part, I think I've got just about everything still. I am missing my Annihilist Charm, unfortunately. But as of right now, my Valkyrie is capable of being summoned at level 42. That would be level 43 with the Annihilist Charm. I do believe I'm missing one or two things. I'm missing my belt, which would be 44. And then I'm also missing, where's my gloves? I have +3 passive gloves, that's right. So that I can get another point higher. And I have a lot of equipment that is essentially used for no other reason other than to summon the highest level Valkyrie possible. And you might be asking yourself, well, why would I want to summon the highest level Valkyrie possible? What is the point of that in particular, of summoning the highest level Valkyrie possible? Well, she gets really, really strong. Now, I'm going to switch over to the original version of the game here real quick, because I'd like to actually summon her repeatedly. And you might be wondering, well, why in the hell would you summon her repeatedly? Why not just summon her once and be done with it? Well, the answer is that you can actually tell what equipment she is wearing by the color of her weapon, the color of her armor, and also the essentially kind of like the glow about her. So what I am looking for specifically, what I would like her to have, is extremely high damage. Now, to get her extremely high damage, I have to have specific colors on her equipment, and the easiest way to see that is in the original game. The newer game, it's a little bit more difficult to tell. And you might be asking yourself, well, what are these colors? What does it mean? What do you mean her equipment? What is changing? Well, I'm going to go over all of that today, and we're going to talk about it together. So at level 1, when you first summon your Valkyrie, the first thing that she is capable of getting is she spawns with a full plate mail and a spear. At level 2, she gains heavy gloves. At level 4, she gains heavy boots. At level 5, she gains a heavy belt. At level 7, she upgrades her full plate mail to a chaos armor. At level 8, she upgrades her spear to a lance, a rather nice upgrade. At level 10, she upgrades her heavy gauntlets to war gauntlets. Her heavy boots are upgraded at level 11 to war boots. Her heavy belt is upgraded to a war belt at level 12. At level 13, she gets an amulet. She did not have an amulet before. At level 14, she gains a circlet. That is her first helmet. At level 17, she replaces the Chaos Armor with a Sacred Armor. That is the highest defense armor in the game. At level 17, she replaces her lance with a pike, which is one of the biggest upgrades that the Valkyrie will get. This means that she will have a really, really strong war pike. The war pike is the highest damage elite version of the pike. At level 19, she upgrades her war gauntlets to Crusader gauntlets. At level 21, she upgrades her war boots to mirrored boots. At level 23, she upgrades her war belt to a Colossus girdle. And at level 25, she gets additional modifiers for her amulet from 4 to 6. And at level 27, she upgrades her circlet to a tiara and gains more modifiers on her tiara as well. A lot of these upgrades actually upgrade her abilities from normal items to magic, and then magic items to rare items. So at level 7, when she goes from a full plate mail to a chaos armor, that is the first time she obtains a rare armor. When she upgrades from the spear to a lance, her spear turns into a rare lance. and so forth and so on. So at level 27, she has a rare tiara. At level 25, she finally gets a rare amulet. At level 23, she finally gets a rare Colossus girdle. And at level 21, she finally gets a rare pair of mirrored boots, and so forth and so on. So as you can see, the higher level your Valkyrie is, the stronger her equipment is. But the problem is that her equipment is random. It doesn't matter how many times you summon her, her equipment is always going to be a random assortment of equipment. Now, because equipment in the game has a very specific color based on the modifiers of the armor or the modifiers of the weapon, you can sort of tell what kind of equipment she is using depending on what her color is. So this is how we're going to know. So if she is using light gold armor, then she has no enhancements. It is normal, and it pretty much just has light radius. If it is a dark gold armor, then it is a 24% faster hit recovery. If it is a pale gold armor, which we saw earlier, that is a saintly effect, and saintly is a bonus to defense. If it is an orange armor, it is attacker takes damage of. If it is a white armor, that is actually the plus defense based on character level of your Valkyrie. And if it is a blue armor, it is a chance to cast Frost Nova or Nova. The dark red armor is poison length reduced by 75%, and the red armor is the huge life bonus and double regeneration rate, which is usually the modifier of the whale or something along those lines. So as you can see right now, she is utilizing the dark red armor, which is not the one we want. That is the poison length reduction.
Not here.
She does, however, have the black spear, and we're going to go over that next. So the weapon colors are different. So if she is utilizing a blue weapon, she has a chance to deal cold damage and the potential use of a cold skill upon striking. If it is a teal weapon, it is a chance to deal lightning damage with a potential use of lightning damage on striking. If she is using a green weapon, that one's obvious. That one is poison damage. If it is a black weapon, like the one she has right now, the black weapon is an enhanced damage modifier, usually known as cruel. The cruel effect is one of the effects that people love to look for on magical items, specifically because cruel is anywhere between 250, I believe, to almost 400% enhanced damage, depending on how it rolls. So if you see your Valkyrie with a black spear, that usually means it is a really, really nice amount of damage. She can also spawn with a white spear, and this one is a large bonus to attack rating. Think about the Fool's mod. So what we do is we essentially summon her over and over again, and we try and get a specific set of variables that we would specifically want to use for our Valkyrie. We don't want the dark gold armor. That one is faster hit recovery, and it looks like she's utilizing a teal spear, which is probably, or sorry, the regular color spear, actually. So we won't want that one. Now she has the black spear, but she's still using the dark gold armor, which is probably not what we want. And to get the absolutely perfect Valkyrie that you would probably want for most scenarios, you're most likely going to be looking for a red armored Valkyrie with a black spear. And sometimes it can take a little while. In 2.4, they did facilitate this a little bit nicer because they decreased the delay in having to spawn your Valkyrie, which is definitely very nice, which means you can go through this process a lot easier, and you can try and find your ideal Valkyrie a lot quicker than you could before. In the original, or the new version of the game, it's a little bit more difficult to see the color of the Valkyrie's weapon. It's not so difficult to see the color of the Valkyrie's armor, but the weapon color is definitely a lot harder to see in the new version of the game than the old one. And you could sit here and you could try this for a very long time to get your perfect Valkyrie, but you really, eventually, you kind of just give up and settle for something like maybe I'll end up with the black spear, but not the red armor, or maybe I'll end up with the red armor, but not the black spear. Either one is nice, but having both together makes for a much tankier Valkyrie in general. And if you've ever wondered that, If you've ever like summoned your Valkyrie one time and you've just been like, wow, this Valkyrie is absolutely amazing. Why is she so ridiculously tanky? That is your answer to the question, believe it or not. Is that believe it or not, there are Valkyries that will be tankier than others, specifically because of those scenarios. Now, there are other things to go over when it comes to the Valkyrie. Not only can you beef up her strength, but there are also specific levels that are very important for her. If you would like to use the Valkyrie as a tank, get her to level 17. That is the point at which she obtains the War Pike, and it is going to increase her damage exponentially and make her a lot more useful in general. So if you would like to have a useful Valkyrie, level 17 is the bare minimum that I would recommend so that you can have a very, very useful Valkyrie. As you can see, mine has absolutely no trouble killing things. She is actually surprisingly good at killing things, and a little bit too good, in my opinion. She's better than me in most scenarios, but I mean, that was kind of the goal, was to make a Valkyrie that could literally just kind of do whatever she wanted and kill whoever she wanted. She can literally tank Ubers, by the way. She has absolutely no trouble tanking Ubers. That's how ridiculously tanky and ridiculously strong she is right now. Now, the Valkyrie does obtain lots of benefits from other abilities. So as you beef up yourself, your Valkyrie will also get those abilities herself. So, for instance, when you beef up Critical Strike, she will get the Critical Strike. Hard points only, mind you. So plus to skills does not give your Valkyrie these buffs. It has to be hard points. When you beef up Penetrate, she will increase her attack rating. When you beef up your Dodge, Avoid, and Evade, her Dodge, Avoid, and Evade will go up. Also, she gains life every time you put points into Decoy, which is also very nice for her because it gives her a massive bonus. As you can see, at level 40, she has a life of 5,632, which is pretty darn nice. 2,400% attack rating increase, a damage increase of 975%, defense bonus of 390%, and she costs 64 mana to cast. Now, I wouldn't recommend specifically building your Valkyrie as tanky as my Valkazon, but it definitely comes in handy to have just a massively awesome tanking Valkyrizon as this. Now, there are some downsides to her. Most notably is that she's relatively slow in her kill speed. And I've always noticed this about her, is that she doesn't attack very fast. But when she does hit, she hits really hard. I am hoping that the increases to Impale, the change to Impale, will have a very nice effect on her in the coming patches. In 2.4, they have changed the way that Impale works, making it hit every single time without fail. And they have also made it so that Impale also adds a slow effect. I'm fairly certain that she uses Impale, but I'm not 100% on that. But I'm fairly certain that the Valkyrie uses the Impale ability when she attacks, which is good because that means that she will hit harder. As you can see, this is Hell difficulty, and she doesn't really have too much trouble with anything. She's not like the super most ridiculous fast killing creature in the world, but she's nigh unkillable. I can support her with my Decoy, and I can also utilize other abilities to help her kill a little bit faster. I went with a Crushing Blow build, essentially. Crushing Blow to basically apply as much percentage-based damage as I could to monsters, and also an AoE ability, like Lightning Fury, which allows me to apply AoE damage to multiple targets, and she can finish them off. I don't have any points into the Javelin and Spear skill tree, and I don't have any points into the Bow and Crossbow tree. This is literally a passive Zon. A very powerful passive Zon, mind you, but a passive Zon nonetheless. Now, when it comes to the Valkyrie, I would recommend that just about any Amazon get it. In the past, I do know that some Amazons have avoided getting the Valkyrie because it required you to put points into Dodge, Avoid, and Evade. And in the past, Dodge, Avoid, and Evade have been bugged. And sometimes they would end up getting you killed. However, in 2.4, they have fixed pretty much every problem with Dodge, Avoid, and Evade. And they are now amazing abilities. They no longer interrupt your attacks, and the animation for dodge, avoiding, and evading can now be interrupted by abilities, which makes them kind of no-brainers. And opens up the ability to utilize the Valkyrie more often on some builds which you might have been avoiding them on. Now, the Valkyrie also is available on certain items. So there are 2 items in the game. The first one is the Harmony Missile Weapon. It is a rune word that has a random value between 2 and 6 to Valkyrie, and this will allow you to summon the Valkyrie. The other is the Peace Armor, which has a % chance to cast a Valkyrie on striking. It's a level 15 Valkyrie with a 2% chance to cast, which is pretty cool. So if you were to utilize the Peace Body Armor, you would get a free Valkyrie, and if you utilize the Harmony Missile Weapon, it will actually give you Valkyrie, and you can utilize the Valkyrie that way. Do keep in mind, though, that I have noticed that with the Peace Body Armor, the Valkyrie will desummon if you don't actually have the Valkyrie skill, at least 1 point into the Valkyrie. And the Harmony Missile Weapon also has some bugs where the Valkyrie will despawn as well. I'm not sure why in particular he or she will despawn, the Valkyrie will despawn. Specifically, it doesn't seem to be something that should happen, but it does. Technically, if you have the skill, and that's what Harmony gives you, is it gives you the skill, you shouldn't technically be having the Valkyrie desummon, but it does. The Peace Body Armor, on the other hand, though, just simply casts Valkyrie. And a lot of the times when you're wearing the Peace Body Armor, you may not even be an Amazon, and the Valkyrie just pops up, and then all of a sudden will just disappear again right after he casts. I do find the Peace Body Armor to be a little obnoxious, because what happens is the Valkyrie is constantly being summoned, and when the Valkyrie is summoned, the Valkyrie also dies. And the Valkyrie has a pretty terrible noise when she dies, and imagine that going off all the time. Yeah. It is also important to note that the level 15 Valkyrie that you get from Peace is not affected by plus to skills. It will be affected by the synergy bonuses. So, for instance, if you have Critical Strike, Penetrate, and the Evades, it will get those bonuses from you if you are an Amazon. However, it is not affected by plus to skills, which means that you get a level 15 Valkyrie. Which kind of sucks, because as we were talking about earlier, the level 17 Valkyrie is really the superior one. The Harmony Missile Weapon, on the other hand, is an O skill, which means it's actually giving you the skill, and it is actually affected by plus to skills. So keep that in mind. The last thing that I want to go over with the Valkyrie is that, of course, it's difficult to determine exactly where the Valkyrie stands at any given point. If you want to force the Valkyrie into a position, the easiest way to do so is to teleport to that position, either by using something like an Enigma armor, maybe a teleport amulet, or whatever it may be. You can't really direct her. You can't really tell her what to do. But with a teleport item, you could potentially force her into the location that you would want the Valkyrie to be in. And that's kind of the best case scenario for getting the Valkyrie to do what you want it to do. She freaking one-shot that dude. I know he was at half health and everything, but she literally just walked up and one-shot him, which was freaking hilarious. Oh, man, the Valkyrie. The Valkyrie is a powerful beast of a tank. I'm going to tell you what. She really is. The fact that the Valkyrie can tank the Ubers is amazing. And the fact that you can resummon her if she dies is also amazing. She is essentially a free, reusable tank, which honestly works extremely well in combination with other abilities. Number one is if you have a mercenary, that's one body. you are 2 bodies. You can also summon a decoy. That is 3 bodies. You can have the Valkyrie. That is 4 bodies. And if you were potentially wearing a stone rune word, you could potentially have a clay golem too, which is 5 bodies, and you can have a nice little army with your Valkyrie, which is absolutely nice. And she is, of course, affected by auras. So if you have any very nice auras, like maybe if your mercenary is using a faith bow and you've got fanaticism running, or maybe your might merc, has might, or maybe you have defiance running, or blessed aim, or whatever it may be, she's going to be able to benefit from those things as well, and hit pretty darn hard in the process. As always, I do appreciate you guys and gals watching my videos. I hope that I've given you a little bit of insight on the Valkyrie, and as always, keep watching.